Did you know that Jesus taught that every miracle he has ever done, you can do, and you can even do it better than him? Can you imagine yourself possessing the power and the authority of Christ in order to perform a miracle like Jesus? I mean, any sort of a miracle. Even having the ability to perform the most itsy-bitsy teeny-weeniest of a miracle, wouldn't that just be absolutely amazing? Well, you better put your seatbelt on, because the fact of the matter is that you can perform a miracle like Jesus, and I'm going to show you how. But first, you need a little background information gained by hearing a story about Jesus before you can apply your skills. After a hard day's night at the office, Jesus was tired. He spent the day walking and talking to whomever would listen. He healed the sick, raised the dead, and was even a short order cook, making fish sticks for thousands. And now it was the end of the day, and he was just tired. All he wanted to do is sleep. Yet, he desired to repeat today's activities tomorrow in a city across the Sea of Galilee. So he led the 12 aboard a little ship where he found a pile of netting. Ha 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 ha, he thought. Sleep, sweet, wonderful sleep. He curled up on top of the netting like a little kitten would and went off into slumberland. And I'm sure if he had a snozola like me, he probably snored. Regardless, the 12 pushed off to cross one of the 7 seas. Midway across, a fierce storm arose, and the tiny ship was tossed. And regardless of the efforts of the fearless crew, the ship was going to be lost. Because, you see, the waves were crashing over the sides of the ship, and the vessel was taking on way too much water. And it didn't take an Einstein to figure out that the ship would soon be swamped and sink. And then, all aboard would be sunk. As you may know, some of the 12 were not only seasoned sailors, but they were longshoremen as well. And, as you may also know, sailors and longshoremen have a reputation of their language being quite, let's say, salty at times, especially whenever they became very hyper over, let's say, life or death situations like they were in right now. So when one of those seafaring men finally had the courage to wake up Jesus so he could help, you know that dialogue had to be interesting. I can only imagine seeing Jesus getting poked in the ribs and him waking up with a snort, having the worst case of bed hair one has ever seen, as he looked at everybody through bloodshot eyes and said, "What?" Then having the following verbiage thrown in his face by some fish breath old sea dog, as he says, "Jesus Christ, get off your duff and do something. We're about to go under and drown." Well, needless to say, Jesus was just a little bit miffed as he looked at them all and said, "You of little confidence." That's when Jesus looked at the storm clouds and rebuked them by saying, "Disperse and disappear, disperse and disappear."
Thank you.
Sure enough, the clouds began to spread out
Disperse and disappear.
directions, and in doing so, they thinned out and thinned out and thinned out
Tell me about a flash.
until all you could see
Show us all who it is we are.
was a starry,
Disperse and
starry
disappear.
night. The 12 looked at one another and said, "What manner of man is this to where even the clouds obey him?" And I'm sure if they wrote down his reply, Jesus would have said something along the lines of this: "What manner of man am I? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? I'll tell you what manner of man I am. I am a man just like you. I am just like you." Yes, it is true. You can make clouds disperse and disappear, just like Jesus did. And here's how you go about doing it. Next time you have a partly cloudy day, find yourself a small wisp of a cloud, like you see here. then imagine a beam of light is now shining from your face, and not only hitting the cloud, but engulfing it as well, saturating it with your light. Then repeatedly and firmly say to that cloud, either out loud or in your head, disperse and disappear, disperse and disappear. Say it and mean it. Intent is everything. Keep looking at it and repeating those words. At first, it seems like the cloud is growing. And in a sense, it is, because it is obeying your commands and spreading out in all directions. And it will thin out and thin out and thin out until you won't be able to see it anymore. The only way this won't work is if you decide it won't. For most, the third time you succeed at making a cloud disappear, it really hits you right square between the eyes. That the clouds do indeed obey you exactly like they obey Jesus, but on a smaller scale. Hint: you may want to go to the bathroom before you do this. The more you practice, the better you will become at it, and you will soon be able to handle larger and larger clouds, as you see here. You would be surprised at what you can do with clouds. Watch and see. I am sure that given enough time and practice, someone out there could do exactly what Jesus did in the story. Now, regardless of the size of the cloud that you are able to handle, the bottom line is this: you are doing exactly what Jesus did, but on a smaller scale, which proves you have performed a miracle just like Jesus did. This demonstrates that you are far more powerful than perhaps you have ever imagined. Far more powerful than perhaps your mom and pa has ever taught you. Far more powerful than any school has ever taught you. Far more powerful than science has taught us. Certainly far more powerful than the church has ever taught you. And hey, wait a minute. Why didn't the church teach us how we can do this, instead of saying that we are just nothing more than worms of the dust? It's because they don't know or understand who it is we really are, nor the powerful teachings found in the authentic ways of Christ, or they would have. The bottom line is, this changes everything. You see, science, religion, and every concept of the world is based upon the idea that we are physical entities, separated from all other physical things. And now, with your very own eyes, you have seen that this notion is flat out wrong, due to the fact that you, like Jesus, on command, can command the atoms of a physical thing we call a cloud. And if you can command the atoms of clouds, then you can command the atoms of everything. In that moment, when you realize that the clouds indeed obey your commands, you will know that the knowledge and understanding that I have discovered over my 40 years of research is the most powerful stuff on the planet. It is the real deal. Because, as you already know and experience for yourself, it works. I teach the authentic, esoteric teachings Jesus gave to his apostles in secret. This knowledge will empower the lives of all who has ears to hear, because it will reveal who it is you really are, why you are here, your true adversary, and you will discover what you need to learn in order to live in and from your divinity. And please note, understanding this is far more important than performing a miracle. For once you have learned how to live in and from your divinity, you will have the upper hand in your every endeavor and enjoy the opportunity to health, wealth, love, peace, success, and all. Jesus is looking for those who have ears to hear. Are you one of the lucky few who really wants to learn how to live in and from your divinity? Don't delay your destiny. Contact me now. Hello, I'm Dr. Thomas R. Campbell, at your service. You see, for the past 40 years, I've hidden from the world, searching for the real deal, searching for the esoteric secrets that really work, refusing to come out of my proverbial cave and teach until what I discovered proved to be authentic, which just happens to go hand in hand with the New Thought movement. You see, what I teach is not religion but reality, because what I teach works. People will see results if they just apply it appropriately. I know that out there somewhere exists a New Thought church who is in between ministers, and they are looking for someone who will not only give a new spark of life to the church, but bring the teachings that people can apply to their lives and discover that they really work. Learning how to live in and from the divinity within is the highest achievement and the best way to live life, period. When people learn how to live from the reality of who it is they really are, they will not only become a member of the church, but continue their affiliation for life. I ask that you would consider me to be your new minister. Can you imagine what an absolutely phenomenal advertisement campaign your church will possess when I become your new minister, where we openly show people how they too can perform a miracle like Jesus? And when they in fact see with their own eyes the power that lies within them to make a cloud disappear like Jesus did, and then realize how no other church has such knowledge or understanding, they will be in the pews eager to learn, join, and become all they can literally be. If you are interested in discovering more, hit the link below and check out my website. Thank you for your time and consideration.